Oscar Wilde said that life imitates art far more than art imitates life. Now, initially hearing this may sound contradictory because art must imitate life because that is where art comes from. He backs this by saying that not merely from life's imitative instinct, but from the fact that self-conscious aim of life is to find expression, and that art offers it certain beautiful forms through which it may realize that energy. I used to feel like I was an introverted person, but I really wasn't. I just lacked a lot of confidence, and I was very insecure about myself, and I was a really big goo goo gaga baby boy. I actually felt I really liked being around other people. I found out like I preferred being in social environments 10 times over being huddled up in my room. I liked interacting with others, and I kind of felt like every other person was more like me, where they were just insecure and actually do prefer being around other people. Does that make sense? I felt like everybody else was pretending to be introverted, and that's not really a thing. But I grew up and I became less naive, and I realized there are people who actually just prefer one thing over the other. Being like this when I was very insecure and introverted and to myself, it left me not really having any real world experience. Talking to people, meeting new people, just experiencing life didn't really happen as frequently. And so, like many people amongst my generation, technology was always there to cradle that lack. So I had TV shows, movies, art forms, sports, video games, all these things to replace that real life experience. And it's unhealthy because all of those things aren't actually my experiences. They're other people's experiences manifested into an art that I can consume for face value. I, not necessarily being unique in a place where I crave to be unique and have individuality, I found joy in doing things that I would attempt to be those things. For example, one of those things I enjoyed doing was cooking. I loved cooking because I got to do something that tested my skill, my inner skill, nothing that was given to me. I got to test that and test at the lengths of creativity and understanding going through, and then I got to be critiqued by it. Amongst other things, I liked cooking because I got to give people something that I felt responsible for, that I felt like I had some connection to, that a part of me was in their mouth and they were critiquing me, and that was enjoyable. It is enjoyable still this day. I love cooking. This entire phenomenon that I described is completely natural, and it's understandable for how desirable it is for most people. The experience for a person to want to share their experiences throughout whatever it may be, putting their heart and experience and life and opinions and soul, however small it may be, into the real world, into something like television shows, politics, cooking, art, painting, sports, just imbuing what is inside of them into an art form to be shared and looked at by others. It's a completely understandable phenomenon for people to desire and crave. And this occurs, let's say I have an outstanding feeling about life, and I go to paint and express myself and express my emotions, my opinions, and my thoughts throughout this moment, and I paint these things. That has now become art imitating my life, because this art is nothing more than imitation of what I have experienced. Sadly though, of course, like I said, when people transmute their inner experiences into an art form, let's say some guy, he experienced the Vietnam War, and it was very tragic, and he put that in through a movie. You see, when somebody like me who watches this movie about the Vietnam War, I would look at it and take it for face value because I have never experienced that. And for every single person who has not experienced that, but experiences the movie, the idea of what war is, especially the Vietnam War, has been replaced by this man's opinion. And I have nothing else left to do but begin to let the art take place for what is the actual life. I have nothing left to do but to say I have not experienced said thing, so therefore the art shall take its place. Of course, all of us aren't able to experience Vietnam and things such as this, and so we have to use other people's art form, other people's experiences, to replace the lack of experience that we have in that field. But the problem is that when people are lacking the basic life experiences, not Vietnam or anything like that, but just the basic roundabout ones that people should be experiencing, and they're not doing that, they begin to replace that with other people's experiences, other people's art forms accumulated into their life. And they begin to have a false sense of reality. Like the amount of times of Instagram comment sections that I would like have an aneurysm about because they just lack the ability to form their own opinion is wild. Like genuinely the most insane things. And that's completely unacceptable, and it's disgusting actually. I genuinely think that it is a natural cognitive function for people to try to create something. And that feeling, I think, comes from the fact that we want to be heard, we want to be recognized, we want to be acknowledged. I'm a woman with the daddy issues, stand up. And when we make something through that, we're able to be acknowledged in that way. And our experiences are looked at in a physical form. At least just for me, I really love attention. I really want people to look at me and give me approval. Maybe I'm just projecting, but I do see it as a common theme where people are starting to replace media and other forms of art into their own subsets of experiences, and they're losing the ability to actually create one themselves, therefore losing the ability to create their own art. Yeah.